Hey everyone, welcome back to Moving the Chains with Ashmere. As you can tell, I'm dressed in my Indian attire because Diwali is on Saturday. So my co-host guest Aryanna and I decided to dress up for the occasion because why not? Welcome back, Aryanna. Thanks for joining me. We are already halfway through the NFL season. I'm really sad and I feel like time is flying by, and there has been a lot that's happened over the last 9 weeks. Don't you agree?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and I just want to wish you a happy Diwali. I hope you are able to enjoy your Saturday, however you spend it. But yeah, football has been flying by. Can't believe we're in week 10.
Yeah, happy Diwali to you too. So for everyone that doesn't know what Diwali represents in the Indian community, it's essentially the celebration of light and how good trumps evil, triumphs. Sorry, I didn't mean that pun, but yeah, so it's going to be celebrated. I think it's already starting in a lot of places. It's celebrated for 5 days, and the usual, prayer ritual is you don't eat meat. At least in my home, I don't eat meat, and then we have like a little prayer ceremony and spend time with our family. You clean the house, of course, so you can bring in all the good spirits, on great terms, and you put candles throughout the house and everywhere so that you can bring light into your home. So I don't know how do you celebrate it?
Yeah, well, our family is actually vegetarian, so we don't eat meat. But we usually celebrate it. We make diyas, are the small candles. And the really cool thing is we celebrate with my boyfriend's family. They are Punjabi Sikhs. And what they do is they know how to make candles from atta and tel, which is actually you take flour, wet flour, and it hardens. Then you put oil in it and a small wick. And just like that, you can make a candle. So that's kind of a traditional way that we light candles and celebrate Diwali, but we also buy candles. And I think we celebrated 2 years ago. So, we lit candles and spent time together, and it was really beautiful.
How cool. I've actually never made my own. And now that you've told everybody in the world how they can make their own diya, which is like the candle holder, then I'm going to try to do that and post it on Instagram because that is so cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's very cool, but you have to be careful there's oil, just sitting there. So, no, but it's a very cool thing.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's jump into football because we have so much to talk about. I feel like we should kick it off with the Monday night game because that was probably the most disappointing game among all games for the weekend because the two division rivals, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, people have dreamt about this matchup and Drew Brees just killed him. So I want to know what you were thinking as you watched that game because I'm going to be honest, I fell asleep at halftime. So I want to know what you were thinking as you were watching.
Yeah, so that was actually a very interesting game because the both teams have been very competitive. But I've been rooting for the Bucs. I've been a Patriots fan for a while, as some of you may know, and I root for Tom Brady, so I want to see him succeed in Tampa. And I was thinking that they might have the edge in the division, even though the Saints have been strong. They've been missing Michael Thomas. But the Saints have remained competitive, and this game was an absolute blowout. I was shocked. Tom Brady has never lost a game like this. It was 38-3. And I just want to add that Bucs defense has been elite. They are one of the best in the NFL. So seeing them surrender 38 points was remarkable. And I actually, to be honest, I kind of stopped watching because it was hard to watch. And it's hard because I do love the Saints. I'm from Louisiana, but I also like the Bucs now. So I just had to turn it off.
After the multiple 3-and-outs that the Saints were putting on Tom Brady, I was like, wait, are we watching? Is this the correct channel? Like, I was just very taken aback by the entire game and how strong the Saints came out. And I mean, Michael Thomas made his return in this game, but he wasn't utilized as much as he has been in previous games and years. So I feel like that was another test to how the Saints are changing up their ways on offense and just becoming more elite. I know that the talk that was going on was they were not in the Saints' favor, right? I mean, I think at the beginning of our show a couple weeks ago, we were talking about how the Saints are slowly falling down the hill. And now I think they realize yo, if we're going to be contenders with the Bucks, we need to kill them. And they did so on Monday night, which was sad and good at the same time.
I think it definitely changed the playoff picture and how we might be looking at it. So now it'll be difficult for the Bucks to win that division because they've been beaten by the Saints twice now, and then the Saints are in just such a great position, So it'll be interesting to see how it shapes up and how it shapes up for all of the NFC.
I definitely agree. Well, let's roll out from that game to what we think is to come next week. So you write for SI covering Seattle. Can you shed a little bit of light as to what happened on Sunday morning?
I wish I could. There's a lot I don't understand. Even Pete Carroll said, I don't recognize this team. So even, your head coach saying that, it's a little shocking. And Jaron Reed kind of said, hey, the passing defense has to do something along those lines. So I just want to say that a big criticism for Seattle has been that they have not had a pass rush, right? So they just got Carlos Dunlap and they just got Jamal Adams back. So that was a dominant force in the game. This has been actually the most sacks they've had in a game in 7 years, okay? So pass rush was great. Passing defense, not so much. I was watching highlights. Quentin Dunbar allowing so many 20-yard passes, and I was watching some of the game footage. And he just kind of makes a misstep, and Stephon Diggs gets past him for 20 yards, goes right to the goal line. Now, they were able to hold him to three points for that drive, but that was the story of the game. I mean, so many yards allowed after the catch, and it's difficult to watch. It's hard to understand what was going on, but basically, in a nutshell, just they were letting the guys catch everything, So if they weren't able to get the blitz and get the quarterback, they were completing the passes. Josh Allen had no problem, and he was in the MVP conversation a little earlier. That's what he looked like on Sunday.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think we saw the old Allen from weeks 1 through 4, not the 5 through 8 Josh Allen. And I think because they decided to not run the ball, which I know is like the headline of the week, because the Bills have, a pretty average running game right now. They're able to do a lot with it, but because they didn't even turn to that to get, any lead whatsoever, they just looked at Josh's arm and said, hey, just throw the ball down the field. And they dominated. So I think for next week, we've got, the West matchup with Seattle and the Rams. And I want to know a little bit of your projections for what could change on the Seattle's end, and who do you think is going to win?
So Seattle will have to do a lot of soul searching this week in practice. And hopefully, I'm not really sure. I mean, I guess they just drop, I'm sorry. I mean, just study the passing offense, make adjustments at halftime, see what's going on. Do not allow yards after the catch. You have to get those guys. Don't even allow the passes. Be more aggressive, stop the passes, being able to predict plays, right? But just if they do a lot of match coverage, if you're going to be on your man, be on him, But yeah, as far as the Rams, they're neck and neck in the division. The Seahawks are just barely at the top. They're up by a win. So, and we just saw they lost to the Cardinals. So I do want to see Seattle, obviously, stay at the top of that division and go on to the playoffs. But it will be competitive.
Yeah. So who do you believe is going to win?
I'm sorry. I believe that the Seahawks will win. But it'll be a competitive game. You never know with divisional games. So if the Rams win, I won't be surprised.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think Goff is going to play a similar way as Josh Allen did last week and throw the ball. He's got a lot of targets out there. Cooper Kupp, as we all know, an amazing wide receiver, but he also has like 3 running backs that he could utilize differently. And, there's just a lot of versatility in that game that I didn't really recognize until I was trying to pick up some tight ends and some running backs off the waiver wire last night. They have a lot of variety, and, Darrell Henderson's been there. I think he's going to be an RB1 eventually. I don't know how. I just feel that in my bones that he's going to break through, and I'm kind of predicting this to be his breakthrough game. So that'll be exciting to watch. I'm actually predicting the Rams to win, and only by a 3-point game, similar to what we saw with the Cardinals and the Seahawks. I think it's going to be neck and neck until the last moment, and like a field goal can determine who comes out on top. But since you mentioned the Cardinals, and Kyler Murray is kind of my favorite quarterback, next week, the Arizona Cardinals take on the Bills, and I'm very excited for that game. I think that's my game of the week because I think both of them coming off the games they just came off of. The Bills are on a high, the Cardinals are on a low. They lost to Miami. So I think Kyler has a lot to prove, and so does Allen, just to maintain that momentum. So same question. What do you think is going to happen, and who do you predict to win?
As far as what's going to happen, I mean, I see a shootout between Kyler Murray and Josh Allen. I think that's a given. And as far as who's going to win, well, yeah, so I see a lot of passing in both games. And as far as who's going to win, I think the Bills, but I would not count out the Cardinals. I know at the beginning of the season, I kind of get a bad taste in my mouth from previous seasons, but they have been hot this year. I will not take that away from them. They have DeAndre Hopkins, so they could easily win this game.
And Christian Kirk, that magic from last year, I think they keep it for the tail end of the year. I think Kyler and Christian are like, yo, let's surprise everyone from week 10 on, and I'm just going to give you all the dimes, because I think it was like a 70-yard pass or something along those lines last week. That really, like, that made me think they were going to win. And then all of a sudden, Tua came back, dominated. That Miami defense dominated. You know, they made Kyler scramble a lot. So we've got a lot of exciting games to look forward to this weekend. I say that every weekend, but I feel like as we've seen teams improve and their defenses improved, I know you stressed a lot earlier in the season about how every defense is slowly shifting. They're becoming stronger. They're getting used to everything. And I feel like that's very noticeable now, especially where we are today. Who would have assumed the Miami defense would be, you know, one of the top 10 defenses right now, just putting so much pressure on the quarterback, rushing the quarterback, the blitz, just all their play calling has been like phenomenal 180 turns. So,
well, you know, their head coach is Brian Flores, who was the defensive coordinator for Bill Belichick. So I didn't know how long it would take, but I did assume that eventually Miami was going to pull it together. So they have Tua now, and then, yeah, they have Flores at the helm. So that defense is on the up and coming. They could be a good team.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. I'm glad you said that. I was talking, I was like, she has to say it. She's gonna say it. Brian Flores. I'm waiting. Okay, so what game are you more excited about this weekend? It doesn't have to be mine because I'm just a Cardinal fan all of a sudden.
Yeah, I guess I'm always excited to see the Seahawks play. So I'm excited to see how that shapes up with the Rams, and what that, you know, if the Rams do win, and then they'll have 6 and Seahawks will have 6. So I'm wondering, you know, how that will affect the playoff picture. But I would also like to see how the Bucs come back this week. I'm interested in that.
And what do you think will lead them to a win? They are playing Teddy and that Panthers offense that's now missing Christian McCaffrey once again, even though I mean, he made a huge impact, but I think they've been doing fairly decent without him. So how can the Bucs come through with the win?
Yeah, well, obviously on the offense, they're just going to have to get their things together. If there's receivers out, they just have to figure out their game plan. They have to execute. And I don't think that will be too difficult against Carolina's defense. Yeah, and then their defense just has to hold Teddy Bridgewater. Their front seven has been incredible. If they can apply pressure, we know that they can do that. They have fantastic linebackers. You know, they have Levante David, one of the best in the NFL. Devin White's been amazing. So, I mean, again, it's a divisional game. These are always unpredictable. People say, oh my gosh, the Browns won, the Bengals won. Yeah. You know, oh, they beat the Ravens. Yeah. I mean, it's a division. You know those guys so much better because you play them twice a year, right? Mm-hmm. So it's always like that. Even we just saw with this Jets-Patriots game, I thought the Jets were going to win, right? And that would be crazy. Yeah. So who would have, if I told you last year that the Jets would beat the Patriots, would you believe me? But it's a divisional game. Anything can happen. So, but I still think that the Bucs can win in this game, certainly.
Ooh. I kind of think Teddy could pull through.
You're just going against me this week.
Only because Tom Brady was literally shut down this week, right? When you're kind of pushed down, it's a little bit easier to keep falling down. So I'm not saying Teddy could light it up. He could also be shut down because the Bucs defense, like you just said, is far stronger than the Panthers defense. But it was very obvious that the amount of pressure the Saints were putting on him, like, kind of got to him at the end, you know? So I think that's going to be what changes the game, is how much pressure the Panthers defense put on Tom, how much possession Teddy maintains throughout the game, and, you know, just getting the ball. He's got a wide number of receivers that he can choose from that are doing amazing. So yeah. Since you keep mentioning division games, I have to talk about the Raiders and the Chargers, because that game was crazy. Very good game. Couple mistakes that could have been changed, like right before halftime when Carr threw that pick. I think that is something that he probably watched time and time and again and does not want to repeat against the Broncos, another divisional matchup this week. But I do want to say a couple stats, just because I think I'm notoriously known to low-key hate on the Raiders, even though I come from a Raider household. And it's just like that hard love from like a fan, I think. But Derek Carr's ratings from now to 2016. So today, his completion rate is 69.8. Back in 2016, it was 57.2. His QBR is 77 this year. Last 2016, it was 58.8. He's rushing 108 yards compared to 61 in 2016. So I think Carr overall has just evolved as a quarterback. And I'm not saying the Broncos are a very hard, you know, competition. No offense to any Broncos fans. Sorry, Keith. But I think that the matchup and the way that the Raiders played this weekend against the Chargers, and a rookie quarterback who is able to get dimes down the field and throw very well, and he's got a great, you know, receiving team as well. Keenan Allen came back. So I really think that in order for the Raiders to win, and I do predict them to win against the Broncos, because if they don't, that would suck. I think just, you know, getting the ball to the other options that he has. Aguilar down the field is chef's kiss. What a great receiver he's been for the Raiders. I know Darren Waller is like a hot topic, but the coverage on him is very apparent as well. So I think Carr needs to spread the ball out, get it out a little quicker, and just to a variety of different people. You know, why not just spice it up a little bit? I don't think the Broncos can really keep up. I do also think that the pressure from the Broncos could affect Carr a little bit. That's something that is very noticeable time and again, just in the way that he's been playing. He has scrambled more, I will say that. So I'm grateful for that. But that's my little spiel on Raiders. I don't know if you even keep up with them, because whatever. But I just had to get that out there, because I know everybody that watches me is thinking, why don't you ever talk about your own team? And so I needed to get that out there.
Well, are you repping your own team with your Diwali outfit? Because it looks like it.
Emma, it's blue.
Oh, it's blue. Okay. Sorry, I thought it was
It's actually a Charger color. I'm just kidding. And a Bronco color, actually. Don't tell. It's black, guys. It's black.
We're gonna pretend. I think the Seahawks have this somewhere in their scheme, like a teal.
Yeah.
Green in there. So, you know, yeah.
It's definitely a Buccaneer color.
It's a Buccaneer color? Where's the Buccaneer?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh. No. But I do want to ask you, so what do you think it is? Why do you think Derek Carr's gotten so much better this year? If you can narrow it down to a few things.
I'm pretty sure you know the answer. When they signed Marcus Mariota, it's like a shining light, like a red light, that his job could have been lost. And I think that was the main fire, you know, under his feet that got him moving, literally and figuratively, because he has been playing so much better. And he even said, I want the noise to stop. But I also think because there's a new energy with where they are and what they're doing and who's with the team, and just carrying out from what happened in Oakland, losing Antonio Brown, you know, there's just a lot of negative things that was lingering with the Raider, you know, fan base, with the Raider team. And because they are in a new stadium, you know, they're just, I think Carr has really taken on the leadership role and expressed like, hey, I want to lead this team to, you know, the divisional matchup. And they did. They beat the Chiefs, you know. So I think the rest of the season is looking pretty bright for them, but I do think they have to maintain, you know, the same energy that they're carrying right now. And Carr has to keep just motivating everyone and doing what he's doing. I think he's doing a great job compared to last year when I was like a super hater going to the games just like upset, you know. But I think that's the main reason, and the other ones are like third and fourth tier. But
Yeah, I think just some of the storylines we've talked about today, I think we should talk about like what brings them all together is momentum. You know, the energy of a team that can make such a difference. You win a game, you can go on a winning streak. You lose a game, that can hurt you so much. We talk about the Super Bowl hangover. When teams have that huge loss, we've seen it with the Falcons. It's so hard to come back from. It's so hard to go back to back. But since we're about to celebrate Diwali, you know, light triumphing over darkness. I think that's just a very important message and something we can all keep in mind, especially in a difficult year. You know, and in a season that's been marred by injuries, right? How do we overcome darkness? How do our favorite teams overcome darkness? Are they going to go to the light of the playoffs?
oh, that was a nice analogy. I liked it.
We're making it desi, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, for all the football players out there, channel your inner desi. We're doing it for the culture. Here, Joe left us a little comment. Thanks, Joe. Joe actually didn't know that we were gonna, you know, wear the traditional clothing. I was like, hey, you're gonna love the show today.
Surprise. We're two brown girls. We had to do it, right, guys?
Yeah, 100%. We needed to represent. It's on Saturday. In case you want to celebrate, just light some candles around your home, you know, do a little prayer. You don't have to be vegetarian, but those are just some simple ways you can, you know, celebrate the happiness of the light and good over evil, as Ariana beautifully put. Well, I'm just going to ask you about one matchup and who you think is going to win, because I think that's just going to be a nice ending to everything. So we've got, the Vikings and the Bears play Monday night. Who do you pick winning that game?
Another divisional matchup. Sorry, guys, I have to keep pointing them out, but because I always get shocked by them. But I think the Bears.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, they're right behind the Packers in the division. I know the Vikings have had those close games, but they're 3-5 right now. So
you don't think Dalvin Cook is going to demolish that defense?
I don't know. I mean, he could, but I mean, I saw several weeks back the Bears held the Bucks, handed them one of their few losses. So. But yeah, I mean, they definitely have a lot of weapons on that Vikings offense. And Dalvin Cook, if you have him in fantasy, you are thanking your stars.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it seems like Cook and Henry have swapped. Like last year, the workload that Henry carried is like what I'm seeing from Cook. I was actually thinking about that today. But yeah, well, anyways, thanks for coming on. I mean, I can't believe we've already talked 20 minutes of football. I feel like it goes by so quickly, but I appreciate you taking the time. Happy Diwali, like we said to everyone. Don't forget to check out Ariana's posts. Follow her on, you know, all her socials, the other AP. I don't think I have it here, but
nope, at Ariana Prasad.
Oh, sorry.
No,
follow her socials and just be sure, you know, to be safe, take care. I know we're having good times this week. So thank you.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.